The Minnesota Vikings have moved to 8-2 on the season after defeating the Tennessee Titans this weekend. It was a fantastic game. I was actually at the game. It felt like, even though the score said otherwise, it felt like Minnesota basically controlled that entire game. It felt like we were going to win basically the entire time, or at least from halftime till the end of the game. It felt like Minnesota was going to win. A lot of things were going our way. The offense was doing okay for the passing attack. The running attack was a little rough. We really couldn't get the run game going at all. We've seen a lot of Cam Akers. Aaron Jones we've seen a little bit of, but it seemed as if we had to beat the Tennessee Titans passing the ball, which is exactly what we did. Jefferson got in the mix. Jalen Naylor got in the mix a couple times. Should have caught one for the touchdown. He dropped it. Okay, it hit his pads, and I've seen it multiple times, not only from him or from other NFL superstars or wide receivers, but I've seen it in the high school level. I've seen it in the college level. Just these type of balls that, hey, you probably should catch that. It happens, okay? You move on, you go to the next play. Well, for him, the next play, he actually dropped it. But you still move forward. Vikings overall just looked fantastic. But one thing that was an interesting little tidbit from this game was our right guard. Ed Ingram was actually benched for Dalton Risner. I think we all were seeing this coming. We were wondering when is Dalton Risner going to take over that starting role at right guard? Who's going to replace Ed Ingram? Well, on yesterday, Dalton Risner made his debut. So let's get right into it. Before we do, since I'm not in my normal location, let's shout out our partner, Green Gridiron. If you want one of these mini helmets right here, they have the Vikings, all basically the throwbacks. They have these cool winter warrior helmets and stuff like that, like I have personally. If you don't know, yes, I do have one of them. You can check out one of my older videos, but these guys have everything when it comes to NFL helmets. They also have college helmets. They have fully customizable helmets, actual life-size replica helmets that you can wear on football fields whenever you play an actual sanctioned game or whatever. If you want one of these mini helmets, or a real helmet, feel free to hit the link I have pinned in the comment section and use promo code MINSYN at checkout, MINSYN. It's actually right here. If you type that in, use that promo code, you can get a small discount on your purchase. So shout out to Green Gridiron. So Dalton Risner made his debut against the Tennessee Titans. It was a shocker because this news was broke basically right before the game kicked off. We had no idea that this was going to happen leading up to the game this whole week, or a whole last week, I should say. But then it was a game time decision basically right before kickoff. Hey, by the way, Dalton Risner is getting his first start. So right before kickoff, like I mentioned in Tennessee on Sunday, the Minnesota Vikings announced a somewhat unforeseen offensive line change. Guard Dalton Risner would start against the Titans, while 2022 second-round pick Ed Ingram, a starter for 2.5 years, would hit the bench. Well, I think we all seen it coming, right? Generally speaking, benching Ingram for Risner was not a surprise, but the sudden, just before kickoff nature of the declaration caught some folks off guard, including myself, because I didn't see it until basically right after the kickoff. It was kind of interesting, right? Now, unless it was a one-hit wonder, it probably wasn't. Ingram's time as a starter with the Vikings seems kaput. All right, plain and simple. The Vikings ultimately won the contest over the Tennessee Titans 23-13, using mostly suffocating defense to snuff out Will Levis and friends. Now, quarterback Sam Darnold also rebounded from a dreadful Week 10 performance at the Jacksonville Jaguars by delivering 3 touchdowns to just 1 turnover, which arguably could have been credited to running back Aaron Jones. Now, what about Dalton Risner? Well, the new experience can be deemed a mixed bag. His 50 Pro Football Focus score was not advantageous, but he allowed no sacks, and for the most part, Darnold played efficiently enough for Minnesota's offense to move the ball against a mediocre Tennessee Titans defense. I wouldn't say mediocre. They have a really good defense. They have a lot of dogs up on the defensive line. Jeffrey Simmons was a terror throughout the entire game. There was times where I was like, oh boy, this might be a long game. We couldn't get the run going. Okay, the run game was basically non-existent. They did a very good job of taking that away, which isn't the strong suit of the Tennessee Titans defense. Their strong suit is actually their pass defense, but we found a way to exploit that. That's how we had to beat Tennessee, was move the ball through the air to Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Josh Oliver, who was injured, but I think he should be okay. He kind of rolled up on his ankle a little bit. We'll see how that goes throughout the week and on the injury report and stuff like that. But for the most part, I wouldn't say this is a mediocre Tennessee Titans defense. Overall, a mediocre team. Pretty solid defense, but we found a way to exploit some things, especially through the pass game. Not so much the run game, but it is what it is. Now, O'Connell said about the win over the Titans that we've won 8 of them. We've got the right mindset, but I do believe, hopefully our best football is ahead of us because we're working towards that while also winning games. Proud of that. Proud of our group, proud of our staff, but it's time to go back to work. Now, going back to work will involve the Chicago Bears this weekend, a team that showcases the NFL's 7th best defense per EPA per play. Offensive line performance will not encounter an easier test at Soldier Field on Sunday. It'll be the opposite. But at least Minnesota had Risner at its beck and call for the switch. That depth hasn't always been available for the Vikings over the last decade. So I actually was in favor of this move. I like this move completely. Putting Dalton Risner in was something I have been shouting from the rooftops basically the entire season, right? I knew he had that back injury. I knew it was going to be rough or a little bit longer of a period of time before we seen Dalton Risner take the start, but it was just a matter of time. When he got back healthy, I thought, okay, now's the time, put him into the ball game. Let's kind of go from there. That just didn't seem to be the case. They wanted to continue to see what Ed Ingram had in store, what Blake Brandel had in store, what was the best case or best plan of action for that given Sunday. And this past Sunday against Tennessee Titans, starting Dalton Risner was the start of maybe what is yet to come. Is Dalton Risner going to start against the Chicago Bears? We'll see. I would say probably going to start. Ed Ingram's going to have to be on the bench. He hasn't been great. He hasn't been what we thought he was going to be when we drafted him. So Dalton Risner's going to have to take over that role, and I think he's going to do a fantastic job. The dude rarely allows sacks, allows pressures. I mean, this dude is actually very consistent when it comes to playing on the offensive line, which is what his job is to do, right? Play the offensive line, be consistent in what you're doing. No penalties. He's he never gets any penalties, never causes any penalties. He rarely allows sacks. He does every once in a while, but he's a really good offensive line, a consistent offensive lineman, and I think he's going to start the rest of the way for the Minnesota Vikings. Let's just hope we continue to win some ball games. We got Chicago this upcoming week, so if Dalton Risner is all about it and wants to keep that starting job, he's going to have to perform exceptionally well against the Chicago Bears, and hopefully we get a dub. So Dalton Risner makes his debut against the Tennessee Titans. Will that last? I'm not sure. But you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be much, much appreciated. Have a great rest of the day, folks. And Skol Vikes.